and said, I grabbed him by the arm and said, what are those guys doing? We're supposed to be helping these people. And Jimmy turned to me and he looked at my hands on his arm. I sort of took them off and he said, Earhart, you better keep your mouth shut until you know what's going on around here.
What it would work out to for principal and interest payment. These numbers are actually the raw numbers, what they work out to.
And they're all real numbers. They're not like, that's what we've spent here.
Yeah.
So it's like the cost of living here minus like a mortgage payment, right?
Including mortgage payment.
Oh.
Mortgage payment, principal and interest, if you assume those numbers, principal and interest is $2,174. Taxes works out to $451. Insurance is about $400. That's the only about that's here.
That's monthly?
Monthly. About $60 on improvements in the back house, about $178 on improvements on the front house and the rest of the barn, average per month. Improvements or maintenance. PI, $2,174. Taxes, $451 on average. Insurance, like I said, about $400. Electricity for the barn works out to an average of about $214. For the front house, about $204. For the back house, about $377. Internet works out to about $53 a month. Propane works out to about $182 a month, which is primarily for this house. Trash is $30 a month. And that's actually for 3 bins, and we're only using 2. Bringing Carrie as a renter works out to $1,000 a month, and she would cover the back house, electricity, and half of the barn. So total before her effect on electricity is $33.23 a month. If you subtract her effect on electricity, it works out to $28.39. And principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment works out just over $3,000.
What you didn't do in there is you didn't credit back the insurance, the taxes, like the property tax benefit, which is at least $3,000 a year.
Right, which is $250 a month.
Okay, so it's really $250 a month less than that $3,000, than that whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would it be $250 a month less?
Because if you make less than basically, if you're not in a high income bracket, you, like for instance, taxes on this property are $3,900 a year.
Yeah.
And this year I paid $3,900 a year, and I'll get $3,000 of it back because I'm not in a high income bracket. And they go, "Whoa, you can't be paying that much of your income for that when you don't make that much money."
Yeah.
So,
But she would be in a high income bracket.
yeah, but she'd have offsets.
I'm saying I don't think she would be in a high income bracket.
Okay. But he figured out the salary.
If she's making more than $3,000 a month, I would assume that's a higher income bracket.
That's not a high income bracket.
Not Minnesota.
Minnesota, I think high income is over $125,000 a
Well,
year.
$3,000 a month. Say I was making $3,000 a month times 12. That's not.
Yeah, 36,000. But
Nine-
keep going on this. But you had
To Minnesota, 9 or 10,000 a month.
But then you figured out the salary and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Averaged out the salary. What
so
truck drivers make.
we researched it at 4 or 5 different sites. 66,971 was the number from
Indeed, I think the average 2018
Indeed, yes.
for working, and 66,000 a year is an average truck.
But that's higher than what I've seen out there.
Ayla will show you what places they're starting at.
Well, I mean, I've sat through like tons of recruiting seminars, looked up a lot of places online. 66,000 is pretty high.
Can you show them that?
Sure.
And when they give you those figures, it's before taxes, before income tax.
Right. And this year, 2018, we just read a whole article on it. 2018, because of the millennials not wanting to be truckers and old truckers retiring, there's expected to be a 38% income in truck driver salaries.
But
That's what they offer as salaries.
Yeah. That's pretty good, but it's also that's average. We're not going to start out with that.
No.
So that would take a few years to work up to, and that's full time. And it's before income tax, which is what, 40%? I mean, technically less, but
$60,000 range.
No.
it's less for that.
40% I think is again over that 125 mark, isn't it?
But then I would say because there's income tax, then you have to pay the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Like once you put it all together.
Yep.
Larry's bottom line, after he figured all this out, is that salary right there. Yes, you could afford this place. You alone. If you have Perry as a renter.
Yeah.
If you have Perry as a renter and she's doing and she and her husband are doing the maintenance.
So you can still be going off the road. So you need to be nice to Perry.
If you want to do a certain amount of sacrifice, you don't end up with being able to spend everything you want anytime.
Yeah. But that's also
It also
you having
means
this house all to yourself. If you ended up wanting, to not have it all to yourself, that's not including.
It also means that she has to be on the road full time.
Right, but it's also that's just counting that as a base salary. That's not including if you were going to do seminars or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that's if you were to be gone full time and keep your horses here, you could still afford it. But and the reason Larry did this is because he's like, well, let's not even offer it up if it doesn't come out that she could afford to do it on her own should she decide, because then it's like baiting you to go, okay, here if we'll hold off a year, but you'll never make that amount with the amount of salary you make, but you could.
You never set your kids up for failure.
But you could.
Yeah.
And that's not making you say a commitment. All it's making you say is if in a year from now that's where you're at, your plan is to buy the farm.
Yeah.
And we would want to know that before we.
Because if it's not, then we take a different path.
Yeah.
And it's not. This isn't. The answer to this isn't. Well, it would be nice to have the opportunity to be able to do. It's a yes.
It's a yes if I can make it work out. My plan is to buy the farm.
Or no. No is fine.
Yeah.
My answer is no. No offense, I really love the farm, but it's just
There's no offense there.
my dream is to buy a house or houses cash. Like it's just.
And I want
I've known guys who did it.
So look at TED Talks, look at real estate, OPM, other people's money. If you watch them, you'll come out and go, well, why would I want to spend my own money? Because then you can, if you buy and sell right. Minimum, like our minimum is we want to make 7% interest on anything. Anytime we sell a contract for deed, anything, we want to make 7% interest. And right now, the bank, if we were to put our money in the bank, we'd be getting 0.5%, 1/2 of 1% interest.
Yeah.
So right now we're making 14 times that amount. If you're putting all your money, you're gaining all this money, you're getting it, you're putting it in your bank, you're getting 0.5% per interest per year. It's like, wow. It's
the money itself
years,
depreciates. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense when you could put it in real estate and you can.
Well, there's a chance that the salary for trucking goes down because as short as 2 years ago, the average salary was $35,000. At least that's what I heard in the truck driving school. But I was hearing that from other students. But it doesn't surprise me because
life on what ifs, you have to go. As I see it now, I mean that's why Larry and I are always 1 week we're doing this, the next week we're doing this. It's because wait a minute, something changed. Now we can't do it. We wanted to have 40 real estate properties by now.
Yeah, but once this becomes a bill, there's no what ifs about the bill. The bill's going to be there. But if the money's
The bill's
not
only
there,
going to be there until you decide to sell it. You go, okay, I've been in this 3 months. This is not what I want.
so
Let's sell it.
if the trucking market goes belly up, salaries go down.
You sell the farm.
Yeah.
And you can sell it at that point in time. You can sell it for what you've got into it. I mean, we could certainly do.
How does it work though? Like if you're paying interest up front mostly for the first 10 years, 15 years, or pretty much almost till the end.
No, not really. But you can make double payments and you can pay on principal only, and you certainly that's how most people will pay their mortgage off. If you wanted to do that, considering it's zero down like your VA loan.
Well, my question is, how would you not lose money? Like, if the property appreciates, you'll make money. But how would you not lose money if you have been paying mostly into interest? Like, do you have to do you get? Does the money that you get from selling it, does that relate to the amount of equity you have in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have not much equity, you get the difference between your equity and the sales price. If you owe $100,000 and you only sell it for $125,000, you're only going to get $25,000.
Yeah. So when they give her a loan, if they just have her pay 10% equity for the first 20 years,
No, well, they would never be that high in this market, but
it would be lower than that. Lower than 10% of the equity that she would be able to get,
I think
or is that only
I'm
with
not sure what you're
extra?
saying then.
Like let's say they reserve the equity till like the last 10 years.
They can't reserve that.
So the equity has to be a set amount each month.
There's no equity. Are you talking about interest?
I'm talking about
Equity is
the
whatever
difference
you have.
between the interest and what the payment is. What I would consider the equity. How much equity you're buying in the house, the ability that you'd be able to resell it for.
That's not equity, really. Equity. I mean, because if you're saying that, if you walk into a house and you buy it for $100,000, and you know the house is really worth more than that, but your loan is $100,000, you've got $25,000 instant equity in that house. Equity doesn't mean how much you paid off. I mean,
It's how much you paid off plus how much the appreciation of the property.
that's right.
Right.
It's not just what you've paid off.
and-
Yeah.
I can't throw this up there, but I think that's the graph you're interested in. That's the red is
exactly
the amount
it.
of your payment that's interest. The blue is the amount of your payment that's principal.
But wouldn't this depend on the contract or depend on the mortgage? This is pretty much a flat. This is across the board
This
what
is how
they
they
use.
work. This graph is true if it's I think I used 5%.
Yeah.
I used 5%
Okay.
in 30 years. If you get 5% in 30 years, the graph looks like that.
If I have the down payment
And
and everything.
it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want you to say you want
If-
it and then
if
just
it's-
not really. I guess the question
Yeah.
is how
The
how
numbers
much do you
along
really
the
want
left
to keep
side
everything all in
change
place?
because
Yeah, I do
the
want
amount changes.
all over the place.
We realize
You know, if it's
something
$1,000 loan or if it's $1 million
then what we're
loan.
figuring, to be very honest,
The shape
if
of
you
those
didn't-
two curves is the same
We're
one.
kind of
Yeah.
figuring by that time.
So-
if it didn't work for you, we would want to keep on good terms with Carrie because I think that by that time she
Yeah.
would want to be moving her horses and she
And
probably want to
if you
buy
look, for the
another
first year, yes, most of your
but we
payment
don't want to. If you
goes to
really
interest.
don't
Yeah.
want it.
No, I
and you
Stretching
see the
in.
curve stretches out to
Yeah.
zero at the
Yeah.
end, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And it
And
may
the
be
reason
that
that
you
we're
want it so you can
Pretty aware of this is
if you
because
worked out
we're
all
usually the people
finances
collecting
right,
this.
you could still go do everything you want in
And
Florida in the winter.
The amount that's
you could rent
blue
this
is
place
just
and still
us getting
keep
paid
that
back.
rent.
The amount that's red
You
is
know, like what we're
profit.
going to do this winter. Then
Yeah.
there's no reason
Yeah.
we couldn't do that and then utilize this as a summer
This is
place
Carl's mortgage
and be
calculator.
able to have, you know, and perhaps in that thing
I
maybe
just
you
opened
could
up
even
a tab.
not have to.
This
drive
is Carl's
over the road
mortgage
full
calculator.
time or
It's
anything.
pretty
You
nice.
could
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I would say
find a
so
way
if
to
you
get-
if you hold on to the land until like 2035
And so my trailer.
and you sell the land, you're getting still about half of the.
Actually,
And a trailer. and
if
we
you're
could
talking
rent it
raw
out
land-
and also hire others.
No, I mean like the
raw
whole.
land tends to
Smaller,
appreciate
like a
pretty well
truck or trailer
because
size
it's a
versus
finite
whole
supply.
big rig.
Mhm.
You could potentially.
Well,
if
you know,
years,
no matter where you are,
Potentially then
the suburbs are
you could
moving
be
towards
running
you.
a business.
True,
So we'd
yeah.
be
And the
able to
exurbs
get
are moving towards you faster.
Especially because we're only a mile from the Twin Cities,
down the road.
and it's just gonna keep.
So,
Isle is.
I mean, I know. I said at least we're only an hour from the Twin Cities.
Oh, you're talking here again.
Yeah.
And we're not
So-
trying to convince
I
you
don't
here,
know
even
what
if you're
I
going
don't know
to.
what the land here is going to do.
But why wouldn't it appreciate? I would expect it to.
It doesn't. It
Eventually-
doesn't. You know, to be
in-
very honest, if gas went up to $6 a gallon again, people are going to go, "Oh my gosh, no!" Right now
If-
we're
True.
what?
If you pick a spot like maybe here, maybe halfway to Elk River, in 40 years, it's going to be the suburbs. If you look at the rate
is
of
the farm
expansion,
selling
Right.
the-
Yeah.
suburbs land is
Acreage
worth a
too?
lot. Raw land. I'm not talking buildings. I'm
Yeah.
not talking.
Not
And if you
just-
do what my parents do, you look at the suburbs, then they look at what's just beyond the suburbs because that's where they
That's
know
what's
they'll
gonna
get cheap.
become the suburbs in the future. Yeah,
Yeah. Then they get fuel efficient cars, and it's
Yeah.
kind of.
makes sense.
you know, and if we were to sell it to Perry, probably we'd ask Stephanie first if she wanted to buy that land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because she's kind of expressed an interest. And you know, I mean, you can't. To me, truthfully, if you plan on 10 years out or 5 years out, you're going to be so far behind within those 5 years.
Maybe, but if we bought this and we don't even start paying off equity until about 15 years into the loan.
There's no. I don't understand. There's no such thing as paying off equity. I don't understand.
Of
that.
your first payment, I think it said $500 would be equity.
Yeah.
$500.
And that creeps up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Equity,
principal.
you don't
Principal.
pay off equity.
Yeah.
You don't ever pay off
$500.
equity.
I mean, I'm using the terms interchangeably, but because you don't
Equity means how much you have value in your house. That has
Right.
nothing to do with principal. You know? Because at this, you'd be paying 46% of your salary. Is that what we have it as?
51% of your income would go towards maintenance, improvements, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, utilities.
But you have to realize too, let's say that sounds like a lot. If you are boarding out horses, how much of your board? And I mean, you have to go, okay, yes, everything is taking a chance.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, don't get yourself into a situation you can never back out of. Real
Yeah.
estate is, you can always back out of it.
Yeah. What I'm really interested in is if the farm can make money. And because we're also in a stage where we're partly in a stage where like we need to like reinvest our money before we will like really start making money. Like for one thing, we need to buy a trailer.
But
I mean,
you're saying two opposite things, because you're saying, I understand, but can the farm make money? Yes, it can, but only if you're willing to give up some of your privacy, okay? I mean, we could have made a lot of money. We could be having weddings. We figured out we could make like clear $60,000 a year in weddings here. And that would make people do their own work here.
Yeah.
I take it road restrictions are off. So
Apparently.
semi?
Yep.
Oh, that's the school bus.
Well,
Road restrictions are off, so. But could you, yeah, absolutely could. We never wanted to have our privacy interrupted like that. I mean, we were going to do the whole wedding thing, and it wasn't that. It really would have been fairly easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And we just went,
The toughest part was we would have to work out a sprinkler system.
yeah. But it was going to be easy. We could have done that. We were going to, you know.
Although
They
the
were-
round barn guy had a solution to that.
He did. That was a good solution. And that was only working 4 months out of the year, and we would have cleared 60,000.
What if
well, Carrie's offered like again and again. She's like, well, do you know if your parents need like help like cleaning Airbnb or running Airbnb, blah blah blah. Which I don't know if that would be a good idea, but
We won't have an Airbnb.
I know. I'm not saying for you. I'm saying
Oh.
if Carrie was a renter,
Oh, okay. And you fix
she'd
this
be
place
willing
up?
to put in some work for some money, but however it would work out, you know, if we manage weddings, or if we manage.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
I mean, she's interested in working here rather than working elsewhere,
Okay.
and probably for not tons of money.
$10 an hour is what she told me.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is like with the wedding venue, we
But
also
it's
went.
cash.
Yeah. We also
Yeah.
went. Do we?
Nobody's
wanna
digging in
have
your pockets.
Our,
Because
our
it's- because
personalness.
it's
We didn't
off
want to
of
have
her-
the, you know. But if you're looking at it as your only
rent.
source of
Yeah,
income,
yeah.
you're a big source.
All
Yes,
above
it can be a
board, it's
moneymaker.
cash.
We chose
Yeah.
not to. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's not
That's
a
cool.
moneymaker, and that's putting your money in the bank at a 0.5% interest when you can earn 7, 8, 10, 15% in the real estate market. And I'm not saying for here, understand? And I'm not. I'm saying, I mean, you have this
In
amazing
general,
opportunity. You can, instead of saving up your money, you can, not right now, because you might want to get some money in the bank first, or some money set aside so you have money to. Of course, when you get a VA loan, that's the whole trick with a VA loan, is to buy right. You buy a place that you know is going to be in an area that it's going to go up. I mean, your
We
VA
would have
loan,
exploited that every 2 years.
we would every 2 years. On the day, we would have the purchase agreement written to close on the day of 2 years. Because then and that's using somebody else's money.
Yeah.
That means you can still take all your money you're saving for a down payment, Scott. You can still be putting it in your bank at a 0.5% interest, but still you're using the VA's money to buy the place, and you're only paying 3 or 3.5% interest. Wow, that's so good.
Yeah.
Because then you're still taking your cash. You're making payments, because let's face it, you're probably going to rent a place somewhere, okay? Unless you get, most people don't get to find a place where they don't have to rent. I mean, you're either going to be buying or renting.
Yeah.
And if you are renting a place, give it to the landlord.
Yeah.
You get nothing out of it. Give it to the landlord.
And
Sure.
actually,
That's why people like to rent houses out to people.
If we could have if all of the people we ever found for renters always paid on time, we'd still be renting. probably.
We'd be at our 40th
if they
house
were
by
if
now.
they were easy people to work with.
Yeah.
And,
If they were the way we would be as a renter.
Yeah.
and it also was bad timing because it was 2013 that we had bad Jen. You had to come back from Europe for your mom, and then we had to go get set to go to court. Remember all that and get her out of there?
My mom died while I was in India.
And and then he came back, and that June was the June Jen was going, oh, I want to have new siding. I
So-
want to have this. I want that.
So the fact that
That was right after your mom died. Do you remember that?
the fact that if we could get us as renters, we would be landlords to us,
And we did have the
says
renters.
something about the trade-off between renting or owning. It's obviously better to own.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we would obviously pick to own and rent out to somebody than be the rentee.
Well, I agree with that. But I also think that it's really important to know that you're going to be, the place that you're going to own, that you're going to be there for a long time. Because,
Then you want to be poor your whole life? I'm
no.
not saying you are, but that's how you make money. You don't want to be there for a long time. You want to be there every 2 years.
Yeah.
And then what you can do is you can be there every 2 years until you get enough money, and then you have enough money to buy your place in cash. But you then have your best friend live in it, and it's not your legal residence, and then you continue on every 2 years to live in your VA homes.
Yeah.
Even though this is your real legal residence. The place, you know, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Even without the VA loan capability, we look at buying a house every 2 years, using it as a principal residence, just because you're allowed to make up to $250,000 that way per person.
Profit.
Yeah, before you get taxed.
Profit.
And that's the amount you put into it subtracted from the amount you sell it for. Not taking into account how much you got out of having it, not taking into account what you paid in interest or principal, just what you bought it for versus what you sold it for.
You
We-
get all that.
We expect
$250,000.
expect
2 years.
to utilize that and have utilized it
Yeah.
a couple times already. We utilized it on Shoreview, which was my legal residence, and in the same year, because I got laid off, we were able to use it a second time, prorated, for the place across the street.
Yep. I mean, it's you. You are, if you're in a rental situation, you are gaining zero equity, and you are still paying out the same amount you'd pay if you had a mortgage.
So you're just paying
Actually-
off their house for them.
That's exactly it.
You want to
Yeah.
have the
And
fun
getting
with
no
it?
benefits.
If Perry is renting the back house for $1,000 a month plus
But she's doing full maintenance.
Yeah,
plus
she
doing
doesn't
the
need to know.
maintenance, plus buying,
What, how much
plus
maintenance
paying the
that'll be?
utilities.
Well, no, I mean, she doesn't need to know that
She's
for
paying
that cost she
approximately
could afford
half
almost a mortgage.
of what somebody getting a regular
could.
mortgage to buy this place would be paying.
All right.
So one person is receiving her money and adding their same amount to make the payment, but they're ending up owning it.
But yet she's still.
And she doesn't have any rights.
No.
Yeah.
Because she can keep 2 horses there, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You can keep talking. I'm saying I was just telling you. We have it structured so like her daughter can't come and keep horses here. They have to be horses that are owned by Perry.
Yeah.
And it's not. Well, it's $100 per horse. It's not. A stall can come with that. 1 horse, 1 stall.
Yeah.
You can't bring 10 horses and say I just want to keep them in lean-to.
Yeah.
It's $100 each additional horse, and you can have a stall with it up until But that's really important, and you can't put 2 horses in a stall. And you can't like go bring another horse in and go, I'll switch out every other night in the stall. No, that's not the way it's working. And for her, $100 per stall is a better deal than what she's getting right now.
Yeah.
But that's because she's going to be doing the work, of everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, and in that respect, down the road, if you were willing, we just don't want to give up so much of our privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I say, we could have. I got another request today for Airbnb. People are.
We're also not ready to live in the cities. We're also not ready to have neighbors. We're also not ready to live in an apartment.
Yeah.
Now, I said I'd live in an old folks home because we'd really piss everybody off.
Oh, those places cost so much, though.
You know.
Yeah. My great grandfather was in one. It was $9,000 a month. For him to lay in a bed just like high as a kite, you know.
Oh, that's assisted living.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just mean a regular, like, you know.
Oh yeah, he had to have the works. He had to have like help going to the
But, so
bathroom
anyway,
and
so
whatnot.
your answer is
Yeah,
honestly
that's
yes?
Yes. I
Adult
would
babies.
Okay, things fall into place.
It's-
And
Yeah.
we,
I'm sure he had diapers
we
that
revisited
changed,
a year
yeah,
from now, or
it's-
close to a
Yeah,
year
I don't
from
want to
now.
go there.
Yeah.
And we have to extend out. I told Larry, you know, I don't have a real issue with keeping the farm till I'm 65, but once I'm 65, I don't want the farm because
Yeah.
then I can get on regular insurance.
Mhm.
And until then, I'm poor. So we have our answer, do you think?
So, Ayla, yes, no question. If it worked out that you were making about $66,000 a year, and it worked out that the interest rate was about 5%, and the utilities worked out to what they've been averaging, and maintenance and improvements worked out to what they've been averaging, so that the total worked out to about 51% of your paycheck. Would you go through and buy it? Okay. Then I think we're obligated to
Then we
So-
compare.
so-
make it available.
It like if we can't reach those marks.
You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be on this. I don't want.
No,
you
I know,
stressing
but I
about
would-
it because
it- while
hate
I
the
live here, I
stress
would help.
Conversations that we have. I hate it.
Well, I don't like
So
it
You
either.
don't need to fret about it at all. To stop right where you
She
are.
just doesn't want you getting stressed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I watch you walk into the fire, it's gonna stress me out.
You guys
Oh,
have,
don't.
And I would want if I was still living here, I would help. I would
And
definitely
I wouldn't
help.
let you walk into the
You know,
fight.
and actually that was the other half of it. It's a, as a parent, you don't set your kids up for a failure.
Yeah.
yeah.
And this was, it wasn't a slam dunk easy, and it wasn't an impossible. That's why it made it harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard a rule that you want your house payment should be like 30% of your income.
Although who
Is a
makes
rule that
that
I've heard.
rule? Because is that the people that are successful
It's
because
just
they
an-
take
it's
risks,
just-
or is that the people that want you to not take risks because you're taking away their success?
I think it's just a general.
So,
It's just
I
a
don't-
general. It's just a general guideline to try to make like a safe choice.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
so then see if that were the case and Ayla bought the farm and you and Ayla are still running a
She could
business and
rent it to you.
everything.
yeah, that's
No,
that.
no,
She
no.
no, I would be fine with that.
I thought that was
No,
funny.
Yeah.
he gets another place very nearby here because then he has his place and he can start his 2-year rotation
That would be cool.
because then you still
Christine's
got
place would probably eventually come up. I
It
don't know
will.
if she's going to be
And
over
we
there for
really
that
would
long.
exploit that every time we could.
Yeah,
what?
but also
Christine's place, Bill was just saying that Christine's place will be coming up for sale.
True.
But see, I wouldn't take for granted the fact that you guys have years and years of experience doing it. So if I was to go out there and try to do it, I'd probably fall on my face a few times before I actually got the hang of it.
That's all common sense.
If I was to go out there and try to do it, I'd get her opinion.
Yeah, but it's all common
That's what I
sense.
would do
mean,
too. I would be calling Rachel every day, like, "Hey, should I do this? Should I do that?"
Larry was
Not
worried
every
when
day,
we
huh?
bought Princeton one. He's like, "Look, there's 4 feet of water in the basement,
Let's
and it's
face it.
winter, and it's gonna everything." And I'm like, you know what? The place is not gonna fall down. It's
Mm.
been like this for over a year. It'd be crumbling. Unlike the place on 169 where it's like,
It had
okay, it had crumbled. Like, but
Yeah.
did we still come out really well on that
Yeah.
property? Really
Okay,
well.
so just for the record, I was really nervous when we bought Princeton 1, when we bought Malacca 1, when we bought Pease, when we bought Malacca 2, 3, and 4, when we bought the one in Tennessee, Rutledge. And,
and Florida.
yep, I was okay with the land across the street. That's the only one I haven't been real nervous about.
And that was because the zoning turned out to be, and it was all zoning. Turned
And
out
that's
to
the
be
one maybe I
worst.
should have.
Well, no, because we didn't know. We didn't know.
Financially it worked out. It's just, it was
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah. But the other ones, it's real estate. It's real estate. You can sell it unless it's, even if it gets taken by right of eminent domain, they're going to give you at least fair market value. It's real estate. It's not, if you buy it right, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, that's, you figure it. Because there's only so much real estate. They can't make more. It's if anything, it's being made less and less and less from sinkholes
That's
and from.
getting into the.
Well, and my dad
this is
tells
gonna
me
be
too.
sold someday.
Yeah, but my dad tells me too is like that's why it's called real estate. It's the only thing out there that just can't depreciate.
Well, and land is a finite resource.
Right.
So much for other businesses, but land is finite.
But the whole idea, and anytime we did any of these properties, I mean, that's why I became an auction addict, is because I wanted to get the stuff but not pay retail. Because then
Right.
if I paid retail, we would. That was the issue with the house across the way too. Because of zoning, we had to pay retail for all those stupid.
And same if you hire somebody to do the work, you don't like so like I guess like even if you were to hire somebody to do the work on the house next door, that means you're gonna make way less when you go to flip the property.
That's
like,
true.
I mean, would you break even? Would you actually make?
Oh yeah,
Would you actually
do
go
it
in the
right.
hole?
We made a little bit on the sale, and we'll make a lot more on the interest.
Yeah, yeah. The interest is the good thing. You're doing good on that.
We've actually already made more on the interest than we made on the sale, I think.
Yeah. And plus, it's nice to have good neighbors.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna if you the whole thing is buying it right. You are not going.
Don't
to
ever
lose
mention
money.
that to Stephanie, by the way.
Yeah.
So what?
Good.
That's good.
But so
Don't mention what you didn't hear to Stephanie.
Okay.
the whole thing is that you buy it right, and you're not going to lose your money on it. You're just not.
Yeah.
And boy, if we had VA rights,
We'd have exploited it 4 times by now.
yeah.
I really think it's a shame that not everybody is covered by those because they're meant to protect the veteran, but it's like
That's okay.
why don't civilians get the same protection? Like
Yes, they didn't make
shouldn't.
the same
I
sacrifice.
think they should.
They didn't sign up for the same risk. They didn't make the same sacrifice.
They're on the couch
That's why.
while you're out in the field. Why in the hell should they get those benefits?
But they also create like a disparity where like I get like
I'm okay with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if like people especially once the war is all faded off, like people are gonna discriminate against veterans. They're gonna hate us
No.
because we're gonna be doing
You
better.
know what? No.
The only time people
You have
hated
so earned it, and people respect you because they got to sit on their stinking couch and be safe, and you're out there putting your life on the line. A veteran absolutely earns everything
Like,
and more.
the only time they didn't that they were kind of singled out or hated was during the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
And now that the culture has gotten that out of their system, there's always a counter effect that's going to push people to go more in the other direction.
yeah,
I
I've
appreciate it.
noticed that. Yeah, we got lucky on that.
No, and that's
But-
that's one thing again. You earned all these benefits. You earned. They were not gifts to you. You earned them every day that you got up at 5 a.m. Every day that you had to eat their crummy food, or you had to go put your life on the line, or you had to be yelled at by somebody. You earned those benefits. There is no way in the world that you should not be using them, and you should be getting more of them. I mean.
But what?
Look at Jessa lasted 2 weeks. You lasted how many years? Come on, you earned those benefits. You
Yeah.
earn and more. It's obviously it's a hard thing to do.
Well,
You know?
I can't believe she only made it to.
We can't bring
I
that up in
can't.
front of her, but
Like,
we knew
she was a bad fit. We tried to tell her that.
We
Yeah.
really that was the sort of like we were talking about setting up for failure. That's part of why we didn't want her to go into Scott. She was
yeah, I
just
believe that.
not
I
a good-
just
we weren't putting down the service ever.
yeah.
It was
No,
just
she
you know
was
what?
just a horrible fit for it.
Yeah, but Jessa just has to learn the hard way. She refuses to listen.
I know.
Ayla and I
Please
talked
don't
about
live
it.
with a stranger boy.
We talked about it over and over, and we were like, I'm sure Larry and Rachel would be more okay with this if it was like a thought out, planned decision, and not just like a impulsive like
I would
I'm going to go do
standing
this.
behind her in 6 months. If she still wanted to do it, I would have been so proud of her.
Yeah, and then
Actually-
she would have been like, "Hey, look, I'm going to get the VA loan. I'm going to get XYZ." And the
Well,
the
I-
pay is really not bad too when you consider you've got health insurance covered, you've got housing covered, all of that money that they say that they pay, all the base pay, it goes right into your pocket. And same with the deployment.
And you earn it all. But you know what? We knew that Jessa was not. It's just not Jessa. It's so not Jessa. It's so. I don't think that they have, square bun contests in the service. I mean, it's just not her. She, and now she comes home, and this makes me just sick to my stomach. She comes home being a failure. Once again, she's failed at something. She failed in her marriage, and it makes me so incredibly sad for her. It does.
Well, but she keeps, the marriage thing, that was planned wrong. She shouldn't have got married. But with something like this, that she failed, she caused it.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't help.
But it does, because there's no other way for her to learn because she refuses to listen.
But when you're a parent, you love your kid.
Mile except for her coworkers.
When you're a parent, you love your kid. You don't.
Yeah,
it still hurts
I know,
a lot to
so-
see him fail. And I know how bad it hurts her. I know it's an embarrassment to her.
Yeah.
She should listen to. We've made it to be old people by the fact that we have made decent decisions.
Yeah.
We are not laying dead in the street somewhere by, we've made it this long, and the older a person is, the more you should respect their opinion. For the
I
fact
agree
that
with that.
they've made it that long.
Yeah.
Also,
But
just take a
11
look
cent
around. Not a lot of people not a lot of people have this kind of, wealth and this kind of quality of life. It's like,
This isn't wealth. I mean, I hate to say it, but
well, if you compare it to my dad's side of the family, it's pretty well
thank
off.
goodness for Larry, he's always made a great salary. But we've also bought wisely.
Yeah.
I mean, and that it's. I mean, I guess it's physical wealth, and we bought wisely. We
It's
bought.
wealth.
Okay.
One thing that
It's not like we're rolling
Buying
around
wisely
in money.
is wealth.
Well, but it's not like we're not wealthy people. We don't
It's
go,
not
let's
like
just do
Patty
this.
and Dave, where you're technically living in a manufactured house while you have.
Hey, yes, we have a manufactured house. Where are you kidding?
I suppose. But you don't have Cadillacs or whatever it is that they drive.
We don't have disposable wealth.
Yeah.
We don't go traveling everywhere, and we don't spend tons of money on. I mean, we go, okay, if we buy this at an auction, then maybe we can buy this new.
Yeah.
It's not like, let's just go out and spend and buy. I mean, it's all very.
That's one thing I admire about you guys is how you sort of meticulously, with anything financially, you're very meticulously counting every aspect of it. Very
Larry, if we're good people, it'll all work out. Karma, I'm into that karma thing. Hey, it worked for owning this farm for years, didn't it?
Karma doesn't exist though.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. The Clarks are still down riding endurance.
They didn't get to go to WEG, did they?
Jan got hurt.
Sure.
Can't ride anymore.
The Clarks are desperate because they're probably in danger of losing their ranch by now, because they're not going to make money like they dreamed they would out of raising and selling horses.
But then they keep adding horses.
Hmm?
It's like a new horse a month.
Yeah, but they're either
It's
starving
absurd.
that something bad's going to happen there eventually.
Yeah.
No one can put the old adage, how do you make $1 million in horses?
Start with two. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really that old.
You know what's screwed up? I heard the same saying about horse hauling. They're like, how you be a wealthy horse hauler? You start out wealthy. Something like that. I don't know how, but it's the same saying, but
I just don't believe that because
I don't believe it
Brooklyn
either.
is at 55 trucks.
no, it's just a joke I read on a blog. I don't believe it's really.
But also, I think there's probably a lot of small horse haulers trying to put misinformation out there.
I don't see why not. And I always wondered if the same thing was happening with video games.
Yeah.
The more they get independent developers to believe they can't make a living doing
Yeah.
it, the more they have people dropping out before they ever hit the finish line.
I think something too, if you don't find a way to diversify,
Yeah.
I believe that too.
without your
I like the
we
idea
never
of
would have been able to make the real estate stuff work.
And with my salary, but just my real estate knowledge, it wouldn't have happened either.
You have to diversify. You have to be able to do more than one thing.
We complemented each other well.
I think there's a raccoon inside. Oh, that's Bubbles.
Oh.
I was like, that door's
Oh,
shut.
she
What
must
is that
have
thing?
some blood.
Yeah, she's catching something. Sorry. No, yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think diversifying is. Yeah, how'd that thing get in there?
So anyways, I thought that was nice. Larry did that and he found out that worked. So now we need to sit down, Larry, and she might be here before too long. Because it's already 4:01. We need to get back to Perry then. Now we have to figure out the date our next thing is.
And Ayla's job, I want to say Ayla and I, our job would be to try to make that mark before the year's up, basically, right?
Yeah, well, not before the year is up, like 12 months from July or August or,
A year
Yeah.
from when Perry moves in.
yeah. And it may even be that by then you have a bunch of clinics booked, or it may be,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there's, like I said, I would not put all my eggs in one basket ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, let's say you guys go, okay, I still think you need to get your judge's license.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really do. But, you know, let's say you go, okay, we're just going to drive, and halfway through that drive, one of you gets, God forbid, injured, or, you know, you get a flu that takes you
You
out of
start beating
commission.
each other out.
Well, you get
Or
a flu that
if-
takes you out of commission for months. Then
So
it's
much
like-
as an accident could put you out of the industry.
Yeah.
Like,
So you need to never have just one thing you do. Keep
Yeah,
your,
I
keep
agree
your
with that.
stuff going on, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Find other stuff. Maybe be a steward. I know, and it doesn't have to
I'd
be
like
sex
to.
related, but there's
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. You
Yeah.
should just, you know.
I agree. I would like to get our own rig and be driving.
I really want to do our own
Yeah.
thing, but like I said, we need the overhead to buy a trailer. If we start out with 3 horses, it may take too long to buy a trailer that will have more horses. But you know, the more horses, the more we make per haul. So we really like. That's why I think if we drive for a carrier 3-6 months, you get the insurance benefit for that. You save up money, buy a trailer, try to go off on our own. And I imagine that we'll keep clients. I mean, we just got 1 truck and trailer.
Yeah.
We're
or
gonna
even,
find people that need
like
horses
that
hauled.
MG Horse Transport. It might be worth contacting them too because they have a smaller rig, but they said that they're quickly growing. Like they're booked through the whole year, so maybe they would be interested in contracting out to us.
Who is it?
MG Horse Transport. Is that the group we used? I can't
I
remember.
have no clue.
Larry would know because he paid the bill.
I can open it up in Quicken and try to find it.
Anywhere we
Boy,
could
it's
work
good
as
that
an
he-
owner
yeah,
operator.
You know, I can't tell you how many times with how much, and it takes him like an hour a day maybe. But how he can
It took
find.
less time when I wasn't trying to separate out sales tax.
True. But like the hay guy we were talking about today, he's like, yeah, you know, you bought from me in 2013. It's like, no, we didn't.
Yeah.
First of all, in 2013, we bought all of our hay from Eric and whoever.
I can get his name if you want out of Quicken.
Froelich.
Oh, yeah.
We bought 2013 and 2014. We bought all of our hay. And part of 2015, but then they ran out. And then we bought last half of 2015 and all of 2016 from. Yeah. Okay, I don't know his name. So that was 2015, 20. She was just looking like somebody was after her.
It's really weird. I don't know.
What's she looking at?
Who is she?
Tommy.
And then 2017 was the hay from I can't remember the name of the people, but we looked it up. That I don't know who that guy is. I don't know who he's thinking of, but it sure as heck wasn't us.
It's weird.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if they're
That offensive
hiring, but
man.
it sounds like they could be.
Especially if they have a trailer,
Yeah.
we already have the overhead covered. We work as owner operators.
That'd be good.
We can consult them about insurance. I think it's a really good way to go. And even just learn everything that we can from them if we want to start our own LLC or whatever.
And if I were you, I'd do that. Start that part time. I'd work your own.
Well,
I'd
if
work
we
part-time for
were
somebody else and start just doing one by one and build up on reputation.
yeah, well if we're
Well, yeah,
if we're doing
diversify.
it
if you could get your steward thing and I'm doing judging, you could also do that on some weekends.
if we're doing it as owner operators, we can afford to do it part time, and
Yeah.
you'll still make your mark.
And if you do the steward thing, that's a way to pick up clients. They
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah,
You know, and then if you
and her clinics.
Yep.
Yeah, clinics actually said, like, she's like, Australia, we're not going to make much for a week and a half. We'll probably only come home with $1,500 each. I'm like,
and if-
boy, comparing that to Tractor Supply, that's not nothing.
And then here
I know
again-
it's not something, but compared to Tractor Supply, it's not.
My
nothing.
thought is, and let's face it.
I think it's more of a
People-
it's more of a hobby. It's more of a. It's not really like a. It's
Yeah,
not
but
a
it could
stable.
grow. It's,
Yeah.
It's not something I want to just give up because it's either going to be either fizzle out, which then it was fun for a little while. It's like a hobby.
Well,
Or
I
it's
think
gonna
of it.
grow
It's
and
like
do well.
it's like painting. It's like if you were trying to sell paintings, it's like if you were trying to do like video game design,
Yeah.
like it could blow up and do really well.
Yeah.
Or it could be really hard and just kind of like a passion thing that you get out of it. It's more than financial what you get out of it. You don't get money out of it per se. But if we get the horse hauling going, seems just more. It is if we can do that. You were saying like if we had 3 or 4 horses, and we make a long haul with that,
Yeah.
we'll get 3,000 or 4,000 just from one haul.
Yep.
At least.
And
I
another
mean,
thing that
that's-
you guys may want to think of, and this is on the fun side personally, and let's face it, you want to do business with people who kind of look successful, right? Okay. And who have the credentials to back it up.
They say
And-
success leaves clues. I've heard that saying. Success leaves clues.
It does. But something that I think that you guys, we talked about this a little bit before, I mean, 25,000 to bartend for 10.
Oh God, I will jump on that.
You got-
I'm too fat, but I need to
You
get
know,
in shape. But
by
I would
next
do it.
January is when your application has to be in.
See,
and here
but
again,
that
if you end up going out this year, you know, we're planning on going out, and especially now if we have Perry in the back house, we don't have to be worried about, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, you guys could go out and just make some contacts with some of the bartenders out there and
Yeah.
maybe talk to the owners. But, I mean, anyone can take 10 days or 14 days
Yeah.
out of their schedule for $25,000.
yeah, I wouldn't.
Yes.
My problem is I don't. I
You
have
could
trouble
do a
with
little
memory,
Russell Crowe
so
thing.
I would have a hard time learning the drinks.
You
but,
don't know. Did
But
they
I
drink
tip.
out
I
there?
tip even if I
Beer.
even if I get a beer, I still tip.
What did they drink out there? You've been there.
Yeah, it was a lot of beer.
Beer.
Yeah, it was a lot of slinging beer.
But otherwise,
Beer.
there's great phonets where you
But
click a
sometimes
couple
they drink
buttons
beer.
and you have a whole recipe right there.
Huh?
But sometimes
Yeah, but you
they
can't
don't
do that when you're out there and you got to make 10 drinks
And
in,
then
in the
everybody's
next
like-
Yeah, but if
15
nine of
minutes.
those
Like,
drinks
you're
are
not.
beer and one is a
No,
mixed
you're
drink.
slinging beer. You're slinging beer out there.
Yeah.
Hardly anything else. You're slinging beer.
And I'm sure if you look good and you're kind of professional, you just tell them like, look, I don't know how to make a bunch of drinks. Just put me in a place where they just sell the
They
beer.
barely have mix.
They don't.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
They don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I think in that one restaurant, if you work in the restaurants that serve food, that's where we went and had Bloody Marys when we had the.
They serve beer, and there's a girl who walks around serving shots.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's about it. That's about it. But you got to plan for that because you got to work out in order to send your photos in.
Yeah.
yeah. Discrimination based on sexiness.
Yeah, but if your sexy bartender makes you 10 grand versus a non-sexy bartender that makes you 2.
I wonder what you would call that. This is sexinessism.
And I'll tell you what, if you think that's a fun thing to do, you spend another 2 weeks and you go out to Lacona. Or you spend another 2 weeks and you go to Daytona. Now you got $75,000 for 4 weeks worth of work.
Yeah.
You know?
You know another thing with the
Are
horse
there any
hauling.
runs in California?
Yeah, there are.
Have to be.
On the Pacific Coast Highway.
If we're doing horse hauling as owner operators, and especially these places where they're talking about a full trip, like there and back, that means wherever
And
your
that one
destination
plant,
is,
and then,
you're
let's
waiting
see,
there until they're
Are we
done
going to the
showing their horses or whatever,
Yeah.
and bringing
Was
them
that
back.
okay for you?
We could spend that time to like vacation in the area, or just see the whatever the event that they're at,
Or even
or
if
be a
there's-
part of the event.
Or even driving out to the event, if we had a 4-horse
Oh, wait,
head-to-head,
Larry.
we could probably fit
Yes.
motorcycles.
Have to answer Perry.
Yeah. Put the 4-wheeler, put a motorcycle or
Okay.
something on it.
What was that?
And that would be like at convenience if we have the space, but
It's nice of him, isn't it? She put a wall dot.
I really want a 6-horse head-to-head. though.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
But you
and imagine that if we go out to an event
Let's
where
answer.
if you go out to an event and you
Should we write it in your thing first? And you write it in...
Middle of July.
Is that
And
what
if we
I'm
got parking, it's
Then we have- are we
like
gonna
What was
take
her
just
actual
to get off our
question?
hammocks and the
Okay.
horse trailer.
imagine if we're doing a haul out to an endurance thing and you have your horse with you and then you can actually do the endurance like you would have been
Yeah.
wanting to go out there anyway, but instead you're going to get paid a few grand to go out there,
Yeah.
wait till the event is over and another few grand to come back. Like you can't beat
Okay.
that. And these guys are like
Okay.
the figures we're looking at was $1 per mile per horse. Most truckers are out there making 30 or 40 cents a mile, and their companies are like breaking the bank to pay them that much. It's hard for them to pay them that much.
And that's the dispatchers where it's like balls to the wall driving. If you call in and you're tired,
it's efficient.
Like, keep moving.
It's efficient as hell, and it's like your routes are planned out to where you don't have any free time. There's no sightseeing, none of that. Like,
Well, and with
I can tell you,
hauling-
we paid for 4 horses just to get from here to Georgia, and he was an owner operated, and I don't know how much you paid for gas, but 4 horses we paid $3,500.
yeah, you know that guy. Didn't you guys say that the guy claimed he was with a team, but showed up with one driver? That means that
was
guy.
really frustrating. Do you remember that? We were not going to.
Yep.
In fact, that's
And
why
I don't
we
blame
also
you.
didn't let Annie go on. She didn't want to go on, but at the same time, it was like, no, if something happens to her,
I don't blame you because he's exploiting, which we would sort of do this too, but he's exploiting the hours of service regulations to get paid more. He's
Yeah, I know.
he's pretending to have 2 drivers in the truck so he can go further. But we
Yeah,
would
we were
actually
really
be
upset.
doing that because we'll both. The only difference is that the only way we're going to fudge the numbers is for me to drive a little more than Ayla. Just because I think that
well,
she's a little younger. I don't fall asleep as easy. It's just when we take long
Did
trips,
that
you don't like to
change
drive
when you were
like.
in basic?
What do you mean?
Your ability to stay awake.
No, that's most likely from the brain injury. His brain just literally doesn't shut down at the right time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because it was after my first deployment, right around when my brother died, and right around that same time is when I got the head injury. And so
Okay.
even the doctors, like, we can't really pinpoint if is it a problem related to TBI? Is it a problem related to, like, stress disorders, like anxiety disorders, and that could come from the deployment?
But there's a difference between not being able to sleep and being able to stay awake and stay focused enough and competent to drive for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
And you seem to have mastered the second one.
There was lots of times where we were probably dirt tired, and like, I mean, I'll tell you, there was a time we were on a 3-day mission. We got helicoptered out maybe 30 kilometers from the base, and had to basically walk back in formations, and just it was like a presence patrol to show them that we were there, we were boss.
Okay.
Don't mess with us. Each of those nights we got about 4 hours of sleep, and that sleep was broken up by guard shifts. And so, like, I ran out of water on the first day, and it was like that whole mission was a nightmare. But it just situations like that, then you just get I don't know, you get that mentality of like I have to stay awake. I don't
See, that's something that you pick the random person who has insomnia, and they couldn't do that.
true.
I have
When they're
insomnia,
tired, they
Once
can't.
we're on the road, I go to sleep.
I have a little bit of that because there's times where Ayla had to drive just because like I couldn't focus, and then when I get in the passenger seat, I couldn't really fall
Yeah,
asleep.
then you
I'm
sit
like,
up for like 4 hours.
That's hilarious.
yeah.
It drives me crazy. It's like we'll switch off every few
And then you
hours.
pass seat
And
drive.
Larry's in the passenger seat, and then he gets on his computer, and then it's
Well,
like,
okay.
Larry, you're supposed to sleep when it's
Infuriating.
your turn.
How do you not get sick? That's
Two
just-
things. One, I do get a certain amount of recovery from not having to stay focused on something.
True.
From being able to
Yeah,
let
me
my
too.
mind and my
Me
eyes
too.
wander.
Yeah.
The other is we also have a tendency to say, well, let's work on that when you're driving.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we do. We queue up when we have to work on a contract for somebody.
Well, the only reason
Or
we start,
a
I'm
lease.
really careful with it. The only reason we start is because you sit there on the computer, and it's like, oh man.
How did you guys get to a point of being like litigious and like just smart enough to make your own contracts? And I know you say it's mostly common sense,
we read
but
50.
Yeah, red 50 and pick what we like out of them.
50?
Probably.
God damn.
I did our
That's
LLCs,
rough.
and even more important, I did a not-for-profit, which is like most people pay attorneys
Yeah.
a lot.
Yep.
And I just sat and read through everything and read all the things that people said didn't work. I mean, everything can be done by example. I mean, with the exception maybe brain surgery or something.
So this was how much it was per mile per horse.
Oh God,
How much?
Even better.
it's too much money. I just
$1.48?
I just
Yeah,
don't
we
see
paid-
us ever making that
Running
much
rate
because
per
I'm
mile per
just
horse is $2 right now.
It's
I'm not that
Yeah, this is
optimistic.
what you
like
pay
I'm too
per mile per
pessimistic.
horse.
There's no way.
things
Running
tend
rate
to
is
pay
$2
better if
right
they're
now.
specialized. And this is a specialized thing.
But
We
it
were
also
paying
is
$2
a,
a mile, except he gave us a break because we
it's concerning about
He only had a 4-horse rig,
demand.
and that's why we got.
Yep.
Well, you know, you saw it.
It's harder to find a job, to find employment, or whatever you want to call it.
And on top of that, Luke got to go
If
down.
it's the
Yeah.
more specialized. But
Because that's
at
why I
the
was like,
same
okay,
time,
there's going to be 2 people,
payoff
and
gets
so we
bigger.
get there, and I was like, where's the other?
So I wonder if,
Oh,
like,
your dog will keep me away.
if we get a situation where, like, in the spring or summer, and we have to drive, or we are able to drive like every few days, we probably would want to do that to save up for the winter months where
Yep.
it would be hard to get
And then
clientele.
count
But I
on
would,
working
you
less
should
during
find
winter.
out
Yeah,
about
makes sense.
judging. Because did you find out if it's been too long now?
I have not yet.
You should really do that again.
Alright.
Did you like doing that judging at all?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
wish I knew how they rated me. Like, I feel like I just don't know how it went.
well, you'll find out if they accept you to do another one. That's the easy way to find out.
You said the guy was happy with you, though.
I think so. Like, he was just weird. Like,
You said you asked
I
him a
think
lot
we
of
should
questions.
say we
Yeah.
prefer the middle of
Okay, that's-
the middle of July.
To me, that would be enough. If there was some,
Wait
if I was training a
but I
soldier,
wasn't
first.
sure
Okay.
if it was supposed to be a training
But can we
exercise or a
start
testing
on
exercise,
August
because that
1st?
makes a huge
That works
difference.
better for you.
Okay.
How's that?
If you were
But-
testing for your CDL and you asked a bunch of
If
questions
it is
on
still,
how
yes,
to,
it is still.
Apprentice-
a role.
apprentice
Set it up
judging.
that way.
Yeah.
apprentice.
But then
You're
they had a
supposed to be
review
there
sheet
to
where
learn.
They reviewed me when I was done.
But it's like, how much do they expect you to know beforehand? I guess that's the real question.
Yeah, which is why I don't know. I don't.
But if it's ambiguous for you, it's probably ambiguous for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's probably and I think that, like I said, if some soldier came to me, even if I was in some kind of nice school like Ranger School or something,
And-
which I never qualified to do, but if I was running some kind of school, I would say, like, if some guy is asking questions and
Yeah.
learning all that he can,
We were
so,
going
like
to
that
list it.
motivation, that's like all I would want. Like,
it's-
can't ask for more, really. Like, even a guy who's like dumb as rocks, if he's trying
Yeah.
and he's really trying to learn and he's trying to, do everything right, and that's enough.
Yeah. Is there a weed whip we can use on the fence?
The electric one. It's on the chart. I'll show it to you. Who
Well,
wants
the
to
electric-
see it?
I want to do it.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It'll run for about half an hour,
We see
45
if we get
minutes,
time.
and then you can bring it in the chart.
This guy-
Okay, do you have,
He said he likes to use the weed whip.
Yeah, that's
He asked if he could do that first.
Now it's different. When you guys had that weed whip with the 2 wheels, I freaking hated that thing.
The walk behind?
Yeah, that was the worst weed whip I've ever used. No offense. No offense.
It is great. Okay, it's a little damaged at this point because somebody left wire down and it crawled up the wire. You know how heavy that thing is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was somebody left some wire on the ground and it caught the wire and started feeding it up, and it picked itself up off the ground up the post.
Jeez.
And that shattered a few pieces.
Yeah.
It's not good for doing soft grass, but it will go through.
Yeah,
stuff you wouldn't believe.
yeah, that like stocky, the straw and like
Like
stuff
you
like
would walk
that.
through that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate that, but
It's a specialized tool.
it would be, I don't know. Like, imagine if you pushed it in front of you and the things went off to the sides, and then there was like a motor to move the wheels like a lawnmower. Then it would be the perfect tool. But
It wouldn't be perfect to me in any case, because I also like to be able. I like the ones you can carry because you can pick a spot, you can tip it and scrape the ground.
yeah. There's so much more control.
The
there.
walking in doesn't do that. But,
Yeah.
But for going through stuff, I've never seen anything that can compete.
I guess there's really, like, Ayla was talking about one good tool for a weed whip that you pull behind a 4-wheeler or a lawnmower, and she says that it sort of like has a spring arm, so you can go underneath fences
Oh,
and it's
yeah, I've
mowing
seen
and
that.
it. That's the only good idea that I've heard for.
I was not quite as impressed by it as she was.
Yeah.
Okay, so weed whip hangs on this hook.
Okay.
Battery's on the charger right now. It's currently at 2 bars, which is probably going to get you half an hour.
Okay. And you just have the one battery?
Yeah. The battery costs $60. The weed whip itself costs $90.
Oh, Wow. Yeah, so you're paying a lot
Most
for
of
the
it's
battery.
yeah.
I wonder if my battery would work for that. I don't know if it's the same brand.
There is such an absurd amount of energy in these batteries.
Yeah. Well, plus, like, they're so specialized. They don't.
Oh, so sorry, I was going to show you. So, can you press that and take it off? Okay. So you're familiar with it?
Yeah.
It just slides in these two grooves.
Yeah.
There's a button on the back. Tells you how much power you got left.
Cool.
When it gets dead, this slides in the same socket. I've got two spare spools. I don't know how long the spool is going to last,
Okay.
but it seems to feed by itself pretty well.
That's cool.
If I
And
just-
you put the whole spool in there when you.
That's how it works. Yeah.
That's great.
And there's this little button here, and I've noticed that if I press that button, a little bit comes out each time I press it.
Okay.
But it seems to feed itself too.
Okay. Meaning, like, you don't have to, like, press it down.
There is
and all
no
that.
bump feed.
Cool.
That
Sweet.
gets the length. This
To adjust angle.
I've moved it. I'm afraid to try it again because I'm afraid I'll break it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, push
Push
it
in
in.
the thing. Cool.
Okay. You can't pivot this, unfortunately.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
You can't have it be over here instead.
Yeah. So it's always going to exhaust out the grass
Yeah.
the same way, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this whole thing tipped, but you basically stood on it, so I wouldn't do it again.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
Oh,
And then you that's
press
the safety.
that. Yeah, that's the safety button you have to
Careful,
press.
it's got the battery on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can let go of the safety.
And this is a brake. I never used it.
That's really odd.
Oh, I'm sure it's because they don't want to be sued.
Yeah. It's got to have a brake on it.
If you run out of line, that's where those are.
Okay, and you just pop the whole thing in? That's
I haven't had
great.
to. I don't know. I don't know how hard it is or how easy it is.
Because they used to be a pain in the ass, I'm sure. You know.
And that's the whole weight. I mean, there is nothing more to add to it. That's
Yeah, it's so light too.
weird.
It seems like I wonder if it would be better if you had bigger batteries that, like, you know, so yeah, you'd have more weight. But
You know what I would like? I would like a battery pack that's strapped to me.
oh yeah, that'd
Probably
be
at the
cool.
hip.
and you just plug it in. You know what else would be cool? If you notice, like the front end is heavier than the battery. It'd be cool if it was balanced.
Yeah.
But
Although, if you pull that up, you're going to change the balance. If you
Oh,
pivot that,
true,
you're going
yeah.
to change the balance.
yeah.
I was very impressed with it.
They've come a long way, even though it's probably been a long time coming. It's like, why haven't they done this years ago? But
I've got one that runs. It's got an extension cord. It runs off AC,
Oh, God.
and it is so anemic.
I was using my dad's lawnmower that ran off an extension cord,
Yep.
and I was so frustrated with it that I just began running over the cord.
I did the same thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, and then I cut
When
the
was
cord like
21.
yeah. I was 25 at the time, but I was like, Dad, I'm not gonna sit here and flip this cord around this lawnmower
Yep.
all day long. And I just started running over it, and I actually chewed up 2 extension cords that day.
When I was 21,
I was
I
like-
got an electric lawnmower
Yeah.
because I was away at college, and I would come home and cut their grass for them, and I just hated that thing.
Yeah.
But then 5 years later, I went out and bought myself a battery-powered lawnmower.
Nice. I didn't even know those existed. That sounds cool.
Actually, now these guys make a lawnmower that comes with 2 batteries. That's all it runs on.
Wow. And it's powerful enough?
Must be. So I mentioned the whole thing was 90 or so. The battery is about 60. On the other hand, if you buy a battery separate, on the other hand, you can buy a chainsaw that runs off the same battery, comes with a battery for like 95 or 100 or somewhere in that
Oh,
range.
there you go. Yeah.
So yeah, this one,
So it's almost cheaper to buy more tools.
yep.
That's nice.
I was just telling him how wonderful it is.
It is. No, yeah.
Does that mean we're lighting a fire?
Oh, it's a little wet, but not much. Do you think it's safe?
Probably.
Cool.
And then we can burn over that box.
Could I tend the fire?
So you're weed whipping.
I'll weed whip first, but
Go back and down the firewood and bring it in.
I like fire.
I think we should be reading it. Yeah, I'll leave that tree for you.
Oh, did you guys end up finding the little fence measurer thing?
No, we've been looking for it, but
Did you
it,
find?
so you were saying that there was 2 totes, and
Yeah.
I said I know where the 2 totes are, but one of those totes we made. So maybe the second tote we don't really know where it is.
That might be where the. Because
Yeah.
I saw a fencer in a tote since I've been back here this time.
The tote there was 2 fencers inside of one of these totes,
Oh,
but one of them was it said ran off a 6-volt battery, which.
oh, I didn't mean fencer. I meant fence tester.
Oh, okay. You seen that since you've been back?
Yeah, I
Just not sure where.
yeah
Maybe in the machine shed, or
yeah maybe. I mean, it could have been in the machine shed. Could have been in the pit room.
they need to have like a multi-tool of like all these different, equipment. Like imagine a lawnmower that you have an attachment to do this, or because there's like too many tools to keep track of,
So
too many parts to keep track of, too many different types of screws, and
which way do you guys go into the pit room?
we take it from the outside because we've got mannequins like
Because we just passed 3 doors to the pit room.
yeah.
Oh shit!
What's wrong?
There's a bunch of totes.
Those are all A-list stuff,
Okay.
as far as we know. As far as I know. Have you seen A-list tack room?
No.
It looks really good. Like I think if potential renters or buyers saw it, like she gets like maximum use out of that tack room. She's got stuff everywhere in there, and it looks really organized and kind of.
People do like that. So,
I was impressed
what's
with
that
it.
doing in here? That's Halloween stuff. That's
Yeah.
Halloween stuff. Jeez, I can remember seeing. Oh, the hoses for Jenny Barner here.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was you, I'd throw them out, but not all of them, maybe. But they're like,
Keep the valve.
yeah, the valve's good. Well, actually, that valve's worn out, but there might be a good one.
Keep most of the valves because
This
that's
is
where
cool.
one is.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I can remember seeing it sitting on top of a pile.
Maybe. Do you think there are multi-tools out there that can test like high voltage stuff?
I haven't ever seen a multi-tool that would go that high a voltage or that would that would capture the peak.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a pulse every couple seconds that lasts a few milliseconds.
And it may not even show it if it doesn't update fast
They'll
enough.
mostly average it out.
Yeah. Because if a tool like that did exist, then it would make sense if I just buy one.
But
Right.
you won't find it.
Yeah.
I can wander through that and see if I can figure out what it was. I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been crazy. The problem is I've been going through stuff in every building.
Oh yeah.
It could have been in the silo shed. Did you find
Oh,
a tote
okay.
in the silo shed?
I've never looked in there, but I know there's. I've seen that there's totes in there. I could take a look inside of them.
Well, what I remember, I wasn't actually going through the tote. It was just sitting on top of an open tote.
Okay. That's convenient.
Yeah. Because what weed lifting will do is it'll get rid of some of the load, some of the loss that all the weeds are doing.
The loss?
Well, you lose a certain amount of voltage because you've got current flowing through the weeds. once they reach up into the wires.
Huh.
That's why you have to relook.
Yeah. Oh, because of the shorts.
Yeah. They're an individual lead is pretty high resistance, but if you get enough of them, you get enough current flowing through them that the resistance of the wire starts to get significant.
Oh, okay. So as the fencing goes, the more that resistance starts to become less than a weed, and that's where you get a permanent short, or like an actual short, I guess.
You have a bunch of weeds growing up against
Oh,
the line.
by the way, let me show you something real quick. By the way, since you just mentioned that, I was listening for the clicking, you know?
Oh, yeah.
There's one tie that's like right over there by that wood fence, with the yellow on it. There's a tie that's over there, and I still heard clicking on that tie, and it was more faint, but at least there's a current reaching it. And I'm not sure if you can see where No, not here. I'm talking about way over there before.
Oh,
so
okay.
So that's like the extent of it, right? That's like where the current has to reach its furthest.
Yeah. Was it one of those on the either end of the of the gate? That's
It
a
may
real.
be.
That's a driveway, by the way.
Oh, cool.
I usually try to cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Rachel and Ayla think it should be cut down or not. I cut it down because I figure, yeah, it might be useful.
Yeah.
They might want it looking.
Actually, it'd be really useful if you can bring a round bale and just put it in over
Yeah.
there instead of having, because every
Yeah,
time
true.
we've been taking down the fence. But this actually ended up working pretty well.
Until they got.
Yeah, which we just needed to push a little bit over, but now that hay's bad, and I think that was a problem with the.
Okay, so if you're seeing if you're hearing and seeing a snap like over in the general area of that gate.
Yeah. I remember it being a tie. Like maybe it was this one over here. Do you see where the tape is tied together?
Yeah, I can see a splice there. So
But
if you can hear a tick at the splice, that means that there's there's shorting
still a short over
farther
here.
down.
Well, so I heard that, and then afterwards I fixed the short over there. So maybe you can't hear it anymore. But it's just that I just wanted to point out that I heard a click over there. It was
That's-
more faint than the other clicks, but that I would assume at least means you got a current going all the way
I
through.
mean, if you measure it there, you're going to see 7,000 volts. If you measure it out where it tees down there, maybe you'll see 6. By the time it gets around here, you're down around 4 or 5 when it's all working well. Just because of the
Yeah.
losses from the wire.
So I have questions about this too because I've always been confused. So this doesn't have to make a current for electricity to flow through it. Like it doesn't have to make a complete circuit.
If there's no short and if nobody's leaning on it, and well, I guess those are the two things, you will still get a little bit of current flow because there's a certain amount of. Are you familiar with capacitance?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Basically,
Like I understand
capacitors
what
are-
you mean by that.
capacitors are things that hold charge. Well, everything has a certain amount of charge holding capability, including this wire. It's really small, but if you get a half a mile of it, it adds up. Well, if you've got no short, you still have a certain amount of capacitance, so you still get a certain amount of current flow from the beginning point heading out towards the outer edges.
And then if a horse
It's-
touches it,
then you
that
get a lot of flow.
completes the okay.
You,
Yeah,
you get a little bit of flow anyway, just because
Yeah.
you're charging up and discharging, charging up and discharging.
So, like, if it charged up and then when it clicks off, does that charge go back into the thing, or could you get a little tiny shock from touching it?
it radiates out.
Weird. So, like, probably through the atmosphere, it just cool. That's interesting. Look, this really hurts. Watch. Look at what'd you do to your leg? You look like you've been bleeding.
Yeah, there's lots of bruises.
You gotta lift it too.
Very
Nice.
light,
That's crazy.
long lasting.
Cool.
Maybe just needs another battery.
With, like I said, probably half an hour with what you got.
Well, how long does it take to charge it?
I think 4 to 6 hours, somewhere in that range.
Larry needs 8 batteries.
So I can go 24 hours.
Yeah, you just can't keep on running.
One thing I noticed is if this was a gas-powered run, it'd be running all the time. As I walk around, since it's electric, you turn it on, turn it off.
That's cool. Oh, DJ's such a scary cat.
Yeah, I like the way it works. I always wear sunglasses, though.
Yeah. I care about eye protection. You know, I was over here mowing. The mower slung up I was mowing, I don't know, some of this grass in here,
Okay.
and the mower slung up a rock and just right in my gut. And I was like, damn. But I think I saw you do that. I think I was there for that. You were hanging up a
Picture in the bar.
yeah, and they hit the nail, and Larry got popped in the face and he started bleeding. This is cool.
Sunglasses.
I have another question. Because I've heard this a few times, that like with a car, for example, you don't just pull up and shut off your car, which I get that it would wear out your starter, but they say it's just bad for it. Like I think it may be bad for it power-wise to be you receive a current, you stop the current, receive another current.
I'm not sure what effect it'll have on the battery if it's run completely dead. They probably have protection against that. Other than that, and hitting the brake might, if you constantly did power brake, power brake, power brake, power brake, fast for a long time, you'd overheat something and it would probably fry.
Okay.
Barring that kind of thing,
So like
it's not going to hurt.
So like just doing that,
Yeah.
that doesn't wear out your battery.
No.
You know what I have heard is that there's a way with lithium ion, and you probably heard this too, but maybe just to confirm, right? You have like the whatever that's in there that stores the charge, like it stacks like in its like uniform way or whatever. And what is that called? I don't know.
Just the charge distribution? I'm not sure.
There's like some kind
I
of
don't know where your head is.
whatever the thing is. But I've heard that if you stop it from charging, like let's say halfway through, it cause like a small break there where the molecules shift or something. But like I've heard that batteries have like a finite number that you can charge them.
Oh, yeah.
And then as you reach that number, your the charge that's the battery's able to hold, it starts to
down.
dissipate.
Yep. But I do know that, let's say it's got the ability to be completely charged and discharged 1,000 times. I do know that if you charge it halfway, you can charge it halfway 2,000 times. You can charge it.
Okay, so that's generally how it works?
It's just.
Because I've heard it was sort of the opposite, where you can charge it like you can charge it, recharge it 1,000,000 times if you're going down to 15%. But if you go somewhere in the middle, like it becomes more times, but it's not equal to like.
As of
Any
3
amount of
years
charge.
ago, it was. So I would expect it to only get, that kind of thing to only improve for people. So I would assume that it wouldn't have gone from that to worse.
Right. Unless the battery technology, it has better capacity, but is worse in that regard, right?
Yep. But these are all lithium ion, and that's the technology we were looking at. So
Okay.
they'll
Cool.
get something new and something higher density. But the exciting thing is, if you damage those, mechanically damage them in the right way, they burst into flame.
Sweet. I've seen videos of like people with those.
The guy with the forklift at the airport?
No, it was one where this guy had one of those vape machines because it's got a lithium ion built in, and it was in his pocket. Well, there's no safety on the button that lets you like vape, right? So the thing was just pressing in his pocket, and the battery blew out of his pants. It was crazy.
Somewhere out there's a video from a security camera that showed a guy running a forklift, at an airport,
Yeah.
you know, behind the walls. And he accidentally stabbed a pallet of lithium-ion batteries.
Jeez, the whole thing.
He stabbed it, he looked around, and he backed up and drove away. And like 5 or 10 minutes later, as the first battery overheats, it melts the batteries around it, disabling their protection. So then they overheat, and eventually the whole thing burst into flame.
Wow. But it didn't explode?
Nope.
Interesting.
She needs a...
Yeah, I told her that too, and I was like, "You're really gonna sit there and do the buckets all the time?"
Well, and actually, a frost free, the way that it works,
It sucks the water back down, and
sort of. When you shut it off, it drains all that water out into the gravel that's down there. 8 feet down.
yeah.
Which means if you turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off,
Eventually, you could build ice.
you
wall.
saturate the gravel down there.
Which then that could freeze, or okay,
Yeah.
once it's saturated.
Yeah. So in general, you want frost freeze. You want to turn them on. Use them for a while and turn them off. You don't want to cycle them.
How deep do you got to go in the ground before you have?
Frost free.
Yeah.
In practice here, probably between 3.5 and 4 feet.
Well, what about like, let's say you were gonna build like a cave to live in? How deep would you have to go before you don't have problems of freezing temperatures?
In practice here,
Just 3 to 3 feet?
yeah,
Wow.
your upper.
Because you have enough
Your upper
insulation there.
Now, if you go according to what the building code says, you have to be 5 feet down. Because they go by county, and Mille Lacs County is very tall and very long and narrow. So borders right around, if this is Mille Lacs County, counties that end here, say 3 feet, 3.5.
And the
Counties
county that's
that
higher
up
up.
here say 5 feet.
Then they make that whole county.
So
5.
ours whole county is 5 feet.
It's interesting to know those relationships because then
It's
you
just a
can kind
weird
of,
thing.
yeah. But you can kind of infer things from that.
So, like I said, realistically, if you go 3.5 feet down, you probably won't get frost. If you go 100 miles north, I don't know when that becomes 6 feet or 7 feet.
Yeah. I got to ask him more about, maybe not now, but more about electricity and specifically batteries. Like, what is the proper way to charge different batteries? What's that really based on? And that's things that I don't really understand.
I only have a few very specific ones that I needed to know.
So it's actually like very different for lots of different types of batteries.
Absolutely.
You can't just look at, okay, this battery, this is a 12 volt
You,
battery.
you can go with technology. Lithium ion behaves a certain way. Lead acid batteries behave a certain way. Lead acid batteries that are the gas mat things behave a certain way. Glass mat, not gas mat.
Glass mat is that AGM technology? Okay.
Nickel NiCad behaves a different way. I mean, it's all.
And then like from deep cycle to shallow cycle, like to.
I don't know enough about that. I think
Yeah.
it has to do with
That's what I'm.
how
I've never,
the stacking of the plates.
See, because I'd like to know for like even if it's something as simple as, you have to buy batteries at whatever interval for like let's say your car. Like it would be nice to know, well, what's like the effective way to charge that without damaging the battery.
Car batteries are rated for 3 years.
So like the battery that I used to run the subwoofer in there. That thing we were charging it using your yeah. So you'd put it on the 10 amp charge, or is it 10 amp or is it 30? 50
10
for
amp
the
is
start.
the regular charge. 3050 is the other.
Okay, now we would put it on a 10 amp, and what I used to charge it with was a 3 amp. The 3 amp would have my battery lasting a long time. When I started using the 10 amp, the battery wore out in about 3 or 4 months, but it had this like sticker warranty and stuff on it. So I went and
They're fighting over the gate.
yeah, DJ's starting crap.
So you went then.
I went and got the battery replaced, and it's funny because even when they gave me the new battery, they put the new warranty sticker on it for that month. So I'm like, okay, I can go and waste this battery too, and they got to replace it. They don't have any like terms of conditions on how you use the battery. So if you charge the battery improperly, if you're using the battery anywhere but a place where it gets charged with an alternator, and it wears out too soon, that's no skin off your back, which is kind of. I could exploit that all of my life.
They
probably.
take advantage. They simplify the problem by assuming everybody's going to just run them in cars.
Yeah, which is cool. And it may be cost effective for them.
Yeah.
But it's cool for me. And then when I was in the store, because they gave me a big hassle since I didn't have a receipt, I actually went to the counter and asked them for a big piece of tape, and I taped the receipt to the thing. And that tape is like, it's good and on there. Like, it's not.
The receipt for that thing is taped on its box on the shelf.
That's the only way to do it. You got to get some clear tape. That way you don't ever have to take it off. And I use clear tape on mine because I don't want to.
Although at this point, because we're trying to keep track of sales tax, I've been taking a picture of every receipt I get, and if they come in as PDF, I convert them to JPEGs. Then I upload every picture in, groups. I upload them to Amazon Photo because they give you unlimited photo storage.
Cool.
So I've got every receipt since the beginning of the year.
That's cool. I was able to download, this is really cool, it's barcode fonts online to use in the computer.
Okay.
And then I was able to use optical character recognition to scan things in and actually read, like it reads and turns it into text. So you could actually change it and like put it somewhere else if you want.
Okay.
Well, I wonder like if I have I never tried this, but if I had the barcode installed, maybe it could read the barcodes. And if you wanted to, you can even change barcodes on scanned documents. That's kind of cool. I don't know how that would help you though, especially if you have to doctor every receipt to get a little bit of it's just, and then you run the risk of like getting in trouble for it. Yeah. I never use information like that to like do anything like.
But it's still interesting to accumulate it.
Yeah, and then it's like I always think that if I'm in really dire straits, I can resort to that. I mean, it's just a tool in your toolkit.
Kind of like, how useful is it to know that if you really want to blow up somebody's house, you put a small bomb next to their gas meter?
I never knew that, but that makes sense.
I've never used it.
Yeah. I swear by gas too. If you EOD school, they taught us that you want to have 3 things. And they say this is the reason